So this is Warren Berry of Instinctive Solutions, and I want to welcome everyone to episode 3 of the Better the Pond Pondcast. We're here to celebrate and acknowledge incredible people doing amazing things to better the pond and who are leading the charge of generosity. And today, my guests, I'm so excited, are Elroy and Ingrid McVinyard. Is that correct? McVinyard?
Yes, that's correct.
You're from Holland. I met Elroy and Ingrid when we were in the Dominican Republic down in Puerto Plata. And Elroy and I went scuba diving together in Sosua Beach. And as we were in our travels, he was telling me a story of how they were helping on the education side for an individual there. And I was so incredibly moved by their story that I had no choice but to invite them on our podcast. So their compassion, their generosity, their authenticity, really, as I said, had moved me. And I want to make sure that they get acknowledged for the wonderful work that they do. And I want to see what they have to say in regards to the work they're doing and where they see things moving forward as we're moving through this pandemic. So welcome, Ingrid and Elroy, this is the 3rd episode of the inaugural Pondcasts, because of you, you are bettering the pond. So
we'll try. Thank you, Warren.
So tell me a little bit about yourselves. Tell me, maybe a bit of a backstory, and also I'm really intrigued, and I think the people will be intrigued to what led you to the Dominican Republic and to do the work that you're doing there.
Well, first of all, our way to the Dominicans started 8 years ago.
Yeah,
with
something like that.
her sister lives in Scotland, and they said we have to go as a family on vacation. And at first we want to go to
Barbados,
but yeah, it's a small island, so after 2 days you know the whole island. And then they said, oh, we can go to the Dominican. And I said, yeah, why not? And so we went there first time 8 years ago, and then you come out of the plane into the bus, and yeah, welcome to paradise. Yeah, everything is paradise as long as you are there inside the walls of the resorts. 6 years ago we went back, and then you start looking more around. I think, okay, yeah, okay, but what is it outside of the walls of the resorts? And we find out some people who are living in Puerto Plata, still now some friends. They are gonna tell you more about the island, and it's a really nice island, but it's very poor. So then you came in contact with people who are already doing some humanitarian help. So via this lady, we found out the girl we are helping for school, to pay her transportation every month to go from a village in a mountain to Puerto Plata to go to school. So to university, because normal school and middle school are free, and university is also free, only they have to pay their own transportation. And if you are poor, you cannot pay the transportation. So that's where we started now 2 years ago.
No, we started way before helping already.
Yeah, way before that we start helping. For example, when we get married in 2017,
yeah.
Our wedding money we took to the Dominicans, and we buy food for a lot of people, and for people who are supporting the
poorest of the
poorest of the poorest.
So how did you make those connections? Who did you connect with there? I mean, you went there, you went to the resorts, then you got off the resort. So how did you make the connection to the general public and who needed support?
Our very first trip there, my sister said, I know a school, and they only have 4 poles and a roof. So our very first trip 8 years ago, we took 2 full suitcases, 2 20-kilo suitcases, each of us had one, with school supplies. When we came back 2 years after that, so that was in 16, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then there was a Canadian lady who saw our post from the orphanage we visit. From okay, I do charity work here to help the poorest of the poorest. So maybe we can do something together. So that was one way we get into contact to find out how it really works in the Dominican. And the other way we found more about the Dominicans and about Puerto Plata was via Daniel, the dive master from Cipro Diving, because Cipro is also doing a little bit work in the charities, and he also explained a lot of how it works, how so via that two ways we found out more that, well, it is a paradise island, yeah, but there's also a lot of sadness and a lot of people who need help, because if you are on the resort, you don't know. If you don't go outside, you have no idea how it works outside.
Absolutely.
So that was the first two ways we found a little bit out. And then you're gonna find your own way, talking with other people, and you're gonna meet people on the resort who are really Dominicans, and you start in conversation. There are a lot of who are know very good English, so they tell you also, for example, for how much hours they make a day and how much they are earning for that hours a day. And you think, okay, those guys have really worked hard to earn their money.
Mm-hmm. When you mentioned Daniel, that's the same Daniel that we dove with CPRO?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Oh, okay,
He's,
yeah.
he's just a good friend now.
yeah.
He's a wonderful human being.
When this Canadian lady took us up to the mountain, and I went with her with my sister, and Elroy went diving, and she took us up the mountain to show us really the families she supported with food. And that's when we met Nigel's family, and they get food. And if you come into their little hut, which is it's really a shack, there are all pictures of this daughter who was the best student in the school. And she was so, her mom was and her grandma were so proud that she was such a good student, and she could not go to the university.
Because
So-
if you have to make a choice between having food or buying transportation, for those, then it's the easy way is the food, because they don't have that much. This family has a huge amount of land, but they cannot do anything with it. For example, if they now have earn enough money by work, they can buy themselves some pigs or goats or whatever,
Mhm.
and then they can be more self-supported than they are now.
but
if
then
you,
first we have to dig a well because
yeah,
there is no water. Their land is actually on the river, but the river is contaminated. So if you have livestock, you can't feed them water from the river. So my sister had a plan to dig a well, and so far we have been unable to find anyone who could build them a well on top of the mountain.
So there's no one to actually build it. So we can have the
No,
resort.
it's rocky soil. You can't just dig a hole till you find water, and they are more than halfway up,
yeah,
and the water is down. So it's a little bit. Our plan was just give them a few pigs. They breed well. Give them some chicken. Well, they do have chickens. We found out. But you have to buy fences. You have to make the well. You have to get the whole system in place, and that's not doable at this moment because it first starts with fresh water.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And money to feed the animals. And if you don't have money to feed yourself, you don't have money to feed the animals. So it's
very difficult to give them a normal life.
Mhm.
So then I thought the only way what I can do is send her to school, that she can have a normal job, and then she can support her own family.
Right. Okay. That's wonderful. So I'm going to say that, in my life, there's been moments and for sure that, I have felt like the odd duck. and I've done things differently. I've done things my own way, but I've realized over time that that's actually made me the person that I am today. And so my question to you is, have you ever felt like the odd duck? And what is it about you that makes you awesome?
Well,
What's an odd dog?
we are the odd dog. We're living on the Bible Belt,
Yeah.
really, and we are pagan. So people are looking at us as if we're stir crazy. Elroy walks in his kilt
There,
all
see?
year in the summer, and in the winter he wears a long skirt. So you get the odd looks like that guy is dangerous. I either look
Yeah.
very pagany or very witchy, so I'm very dangerous. And people just avoid us until they talk to us. So we are the odd ones.
Good, you're the odd duck. That's good. I really,
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
but that's what I love. I love that people are authentic. They're themselves, and it doesn't matter if they're the odd duck, because that's what makes them stand out. That's what makes it different, right? And you get to take that natural talent and you apply it to the world in your way. But that's the
Yeah,
beauty.
but mostly I say I'm not the strange one. They are the strange ones.
If he would have worn jeans, I would just have walked by him when I met him.
See, he wears
Probably.
kilt, and that puts the sparkle in his eyes.
It's so strange over here that I always walk in my long skirt or my kilts.
Mhm.
I lived for 4 hours in a house was built on top of a mall, and I was preparing everything to go to work, and my butter is empty. So I walk down to the supermarket, get some butter, get to the payment, and she said, "Are you sick?" I said, "Sick? I'm not sick. Why do you think I'm sick?" "Yeah, you are wearing pants. I never saw you in pants."
So, can you tell me about a time in your life when someone did something for you that had an impact on your life?
And I think your uncle. That's the
Yes.
biggest impact.
The biggest impact was, sadly enough, the passing of my uncle 5 years ago. My uncle was single in his 80s, and well, he had a lot of money, basically.
Okay.
And he left that to the nearest family. And I was the lucky one to be part of the nearest family. Due to his passing, we could buy the house we're living in now. And life got a whole lot easier if you don't have to pay rent or a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said, okay, I have now an easy way of living. So it's for me easier to help other people, because okay, I have a little bit more to spend every month. If you have to pay from your salary also your mortgage and everything like that, yeah, then you don't have so much left over. So then I think, okay, I have this luck, and I want to give other ones also luck. We are helping people in Holland also, if it's possible. But
Wow.
I think those guys are have to. It's better to spend it over there than over here.
We have a very good welfare system.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It sounds. I have been on welfare. I know it's not much, but you can perfectly live from it if you don't spend it on cigarettes or booze or parties. You can support your family and live on welfare here.
Hmm. You know, one of the things that I've brought up in past podcasts was the fact that, I think you make a really good point of, people in Holland have a good support system, so they have a welfare system. People here in Canada, we have a welfare system, and the federal government, provincial governments are helping people as we go through this. But you look, in the Dominican, and those systems, those support systems just aren't there. For the people, and and as we know that 75% of their business is tourism, and there's no tourism, which means no jobs is no money, no money is no food, and so it's and I think that's wonderful that, that you've discovered, well, you've been on welfare yourself. So you've discovered what it's like to be on the other side, and, and now you've flipped it to help others. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And that's, see, I only like talking to amazing people. So there you go. Yeah, you're in there. So,
Yeah.
so, I believe that we all live in the same pond. I think I look at the world as our pond, and what we want to try to do is we want to try to create the best habitat possible for everyone in the pond. So, right now, presently, or even in the past, two questions: what are you doing to better the pond, which you kind of led into that a little bit already, Ingrid, and why are you doing it?
Well, besides my work, what we decided to do right now, Nijbel's university is homeschooling at the moment. They, just like us, have video lessons. Mm-hmm. So we decided just to pay her school money. There's no transportation right now, but just pay the money and please use it to feed your family. There are 9 people at least in their cabin.
Can you tell me about that family, Ingrid? I found it really, I think that's such a interesting story.
Okay, well, this family is father and mother, and Eddie, the father, is disabled. He has muscle disease that's getting worse and worse and worse. He's in a wheelchair now, thanks to the Canadian lady, because before that he was on the floor crawling on hands and knees. And now at least he has a wheelchair. Not really fitting, but it's very doable, and he can sit from the floor and he can be moved around if needed. This year they had to take grandma to an aunt in Puerto Plata because she went blind and she had a lot of problems with her heart, so she needed to be closer to the hospital. So she lives with an aunt in Puerto Plata right now. And then you have mom, and then there are 2 brothers, a sister, and Nijbel. Then suddenly 2 years ago popped up Eddie's brother, who is disabled, in a wheelchair with the same disease, just less far, living in their home. And there are 2 little nieces, and I'm still not sure where they come from, but they're just 2 little girls.
Yeah.
And they live there. So there are 9 at this moment.
Right.
But there's still family coming in and out, and nieces, and everybody calls each other niece and nephew there. So it's a little bit hard to understand who's who. Mm-hmm. But in the little cabin, which has no running water, it does have electricity, we found out, but only a few hours a day. There are living 9 people. It is a concrete floor. There's a table and a few broken chairs and an open air kitchen. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, well, and a sleeping part, which is just with a curtain closed off. The Canadian organization made sort of a bathroom for Eddie. Well, no running water, but it's he can go to the toilet inside and he can wash inside. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't have to crawl in the mud. Isn't
that amazing? In 2020.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the good thing is that the Dominican government a few years ago, they're not exactly sure how many years, decided to break down their houses, pour concrete on the floor, and 3 or 4 layers of bricks.
Yeah.
So they are dry.
Right.
And then they could build up their shacks again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not everything. And if you have to stay inside like they have to now, it's terrible. Mm-hmm. But they have a roof over their head. And they live far away up the mountain and you really can't get there. So Nijbel has to take motor concho and then the bus, and she's like an hour. I think it's an
like
hour.
An hour traveling time.
Traveling before she gets to school. it's hard. There is in Imber there are some shops in Imber, but still to get to Imber, she has to take a motor coach. It takes about 20 minutes to get there. It's,
Wow.
it's hard if you have to live like that. And they're so humble. These people are so humble. They are quiet. They're a little bit shy. But their hearts are so big.
You know,
For example, the difference between if you are bringing here in Holland and maybe also by you in Canada, uh, uh, a box with some grocery inside, you put it on the table, they're gonna first see what is inside. Yeah. This family, we put 2 full boxes inside. They were placed on a table and on a cabinet, and they don't look in it. They don't do it because they are so shy. So it's they if you know a little bit what I mean. So it's only what they was getting out of the boxes was the coffee, because we put 2 noem je dat? Coffee.
Coffee.
Two coffee cartons inside that they can make coffee. They will get out of it, and the rest was still in the boxes.
Because they had to make us coffee.
Yeah.
So we got Dominican coffee, and then you get the Sunday porcelain out of the kitchen suddenly. You get cups like this.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
well, my finger doesn't fit in it. His as well as yours. But they were proud to be able to give you some coffee.
Yeah.
Because they can't give you water.
Wow.
And it's hard. It's so hard.
So my question to you is, why do you do what you do? What's the driver behind it? What is the reason that you?
The reason why I started this is okay. I cannot help everybody. That's impossible. But I started this because if I help her, yeah, and she finished this schooling, she has now to go for another 2 years. So she's hoping in 2022 to get graduated as a teacher on schools, on middle school. But then she can have a job. Then she can help her family and people related to her family, because then she can earn their own money. And when I finish with her, I can figure out, or I can help somebody else, because that's mostly due to the reason because I have an easier life now due to her uncle. That I said, okay, I want to help other people as well, because yeah, I cannot help everybody, but at least I'm doing something. Yeah, doing nothing is the easiest way.
Mm-hmm.
Doing something you need more time to do something.
Ingrid.
Yeah.
Why do you do what you do?
If I wouldn't do what I do, if I wouldn't help people, I wouldn't be worthy. I live a shamanic lifestyle as far as I can, which means you share your knowledge and you share what you have. I share my knowledge with people around me. I do my shamanic healings for people. I can't share everything I have here in Holland because, well, people have everything. So let us share with those who have nothing, but will be able to grow from it. We really were looking for a way to help at least someone who in her turn could better the people around her if we help her. And that makes me whole.
So you get to better her pond so that she can better the pond of others.
Yes. That's exactly the right way to say it.
Wow, that's amazing. You said something earlier too, which I found really interesting, and talk about the Dominican people. You know, I met Elvis from Elvis Tours and Bianca, and Elvis was so humble, and he was But he has this incredibly huge heart, and the work they're doing is phenomenal, right?
Yes.
But just he was so nonchalant about it, and he was so humble about it, that it's just that it's like, well, that's just what we do. I found it really fascinating of everything they give, and it's like you, right? You give and you give, but it's just because that's what you do. It's because you have a big heart.
We donate part of our money to them now as well. So we're feeding more families than just the family we know. And I don't need credits for that. I don't have to post it on Facebook that I did it. We help them. And more people are eating because of what we can give. And Bianca is stuck there. I mean, she's Dutch.
Yeah.
she belongs in this country. She's stuck there. And she's a very nice girl. And it's nice to be able to help. They do so much. And I mean, last week they fed 225 families.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, they fed 200, but they're risking their own life going into those neighborhoods to find the people they need to give them food to. They risk their own health. And it's amazing.
Well, I told Bianca this morning that she's my hero.
Yes, she is. Yes, Elvis as well. And all the others who are in this system, because there are more groups doing this. But yeah, he's just a tour operator and she's just a girl from Holland.
Right, but look at the impact that they're having, right? And you're part of that as well. And then that's why I'm doing this. That's why we're going to get this message out, right? That hopefully more people can kind of get on board and do the right thing. Just we don't want accolades, we don't want praise. We're just doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't need anybody to know that I gave them. Okay, the family of Nibel knows who gives them the money. We met them and they know us, but that's it. I don't need praise. No. Yeah. The hug I got from Nibel's mom this January was all I needed.
Enough said.
It's simple.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
Right? So I believe that everyone is awesome. I really do, and I believe that everyone has a superpower. Back when I was a child, I'm not sure what it was like in Holland. I was kind of a bit of a fan of Spider-Man. He could go from building to building. Lately, have you watched The Incredibles, perchance? A Disney show?
Nope.
Okay. Anyway, one of the sons,
No.
his superpower was speed. He was called Dash, and I kind of related to him because I like to do everything fast, right? So I believe that we all have a superpower, right? And that's kind of what makes us awesome. And this isn't about bragging. This isn't about pride. This is about what you bring to the table. So Elroy, what do you think? Actually, Elroy, what do you think Ingrid's superpower is?
Yeah, that's a good question. And she's one said, okay, I received some money from the country, but I want to do something back for it. And for that, she do voluntary work. She helping people also on the bottom of the society. And then I say, yeah, that's a good point, because you can also sit down on your couch, do nothing for the money you are receiving from the government. And I said, yeah, then you have a good attitude.
So her attitude.
That's my superpower.
that is
attitude. Yeah, it's difficult to give a good answer on this question, actually.
All right, so we'll put that aside. Ingrid, what is Elroy's superpower?
Elroy's superpower is to make me smile and be happy.
Ooh.
People who know me, I'm almost 55. People who know me for ages said I've never been so happy as the past 8 years. Because we're just together for 8 years. And that's true. The way he just took my kids as his kids and was, okay, I'm not your dad, but I'm there for you if you need me. The way he accepted my uncle, who was the hermit, really, the odd one. And he was like, oh, let's invite him to our home, let's give him dinner, and always normal. He's always helping everybody if somebody needs the car or needs to do something in the garden or heavy lifting. He just does it. And it's not just for his friends, but if his friend's mom would need something, he's doing it. And I think that is just his loyalty to me, to my family, to his friends. And the way he very little gestures makes you so feeling appreciated and feeling loved. That's it.
Well, you know what? I mean, that's the thing I will say, Elroy, because I met you first. You were so welcoming. You were so inviting. You were just yourself, and you were so easy to talk to. And I think that's, that would just made it so easy for us to create, a friendship so easily, just because that's just who you are as a person. You are who you are, and that's very attractive as a person, right? We started up a conversation right away, and as I said earlier, if it wasn't for you two, number one, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and I probably wouldn't be helping out the people in the Dominican. What I'm trying to do to help out. So you're the ones who bettered my pond, so that I can better theirs. So I think
just little drops.
Yeah.
So, what do you dream of for the future? What's your dream of the future?
Well, the dream, at least, is going back. That will be not earlier than 2022. Hopefully, we will see that Nai will get her education degree when we are there. We are hoping that is possible. We would like to see that she will get her degree when we are there in January or February in 2022. Yeah, and after that we will see who we can help then.
Ingrid, what's your dream of the future?
Well, first let this world get healthy again. Although I think Mother Nature decided this was very necessary to get some relief from us human beings. We're helping the planet now by standing still. But other than that, I just want to grow old with this guy.
Right. Is there anything that I can do to help you get you where you want to go?
Just be who you are.
Yeah.
Be who you are.
Understand.
Just do what you do and do it the best as you can, and like we do it the best that we can.
Bianca told us that they were very happy that we met each other and that we introduced you also by Elvis so that they can help more people. And I think then you have done enough.
Oh, there's never enough. We can always do more.
No, I know. There's never enough, but you mean what you can do for us. Then I think, okay, you see what the needs are and you are able and willing to help.
Open your eyes, open your ears, and see where we can really make a difference. I think that's the whole point. Where we only can place a few drops in the ocean. Where are we going to place them? That's and you do it and we do it, and that's all we can do at this moment.
So, Ingrid Elroy, from my heart, I really, really want to thank you, and I want to thank you for everything that you've done. I want to thank you. I'm honored to know you. Where you're the work that you're doing to help other people, and you're doing it just because you want to. That's very admirable. You are also my heroes, and I know that that you are also helping us lead the charge of generosity to help make where you're helping make the world a better place just by being who you are. I think it's
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
out there for everyone, you know, if you know someone else who's looking, that is leading the charge of generosity, please let me know. I can be reached at warren@instinctivesolutions.ca. That's Warren, WARREN, at instinctivesolutions.ca. If you know someone else who's doing the work that Ingrid and Elroy are doing along those lines, please let me know. We're going to take you beyond the pond to better the pond, because we're better together. Thank you, Ingrid and Elroy. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Warren.
Thank you.